It was late 1932. The world was in a depression. Out in Western Australia, we ex-soldiers stern farmers were fighting a new enemy. Not drought, not poverty, but emus. Tens of thousands of the big bastards to 6 feet tall, fast as the devil, yet dumb as fence posts, had come down from the outback, trampling our wheat crops and making a mockery of our fences. The government offered help, and so they sent us, soldiers of the Great War, with machine guns, real ones, against birds. I was with Major Meredith and his crew, manning a Lewis gun on the back of a truck. We thought it'd be quick. One volley, a few hundred emus down, job done. We were dead wrong. The emus were too smart for that. They weren't scared of us or our guns. No, they weren't afraid at all. They seemed to know exactly how to counter us. They'd scatter in all directions, run 50 kilometers an hour through the brush, regroup and vanish like ghosts. One of them, we called him the Feathered Phantom, kept dodging every bullet like he'd read the training manual. It was surreal, terrifying, and above all, infuriating. For weeks we stalked those birds across the bush, set up in likely spots and waited. The emus, always a step ahead, would come marching toward us, heads held high, not a scrap of fear in their beady little eyes. Then, when we opened fire, they'd scatter. The Feathered Phantom always seemed to lead the charge and always seemed to survive. He almost seemed to mock us. Sometimes we'd get lucky, take down a couple dozen birds, but the rest would just keep coming, running over our fallen comrades, pecking at their eyes and tearing their flesh. We tried everything we knew about war and fighting, but nothing worked. So we did what any reasonable soldiers would do, turn to the experts, the generals, but they knew as little here as we did. At one point they even parachuted an officer into the camp to observe us, but he didn't have much to say. When he emerged from the bush a few days later, he looked shell-shocked, his uniform torn and reeking of emu shit. The situation grew desperate. Emus kept coming, and the government kept sending reinforcements, though maybe they hoped we'd shoot each other. Then came the order to withdraw. Officially, Parliament spun it nicer, of course. The emu culling initiative has been suspended. But we knew the truth. We lost 2 birds and the emus. They strutted back into the wheat fields like they owned the joint. Farmers were left to fend for themselves. The emus remained a menace, and the war became a joke. But a real one, with real soldiers, guns, and strategy. Major Meredith, one of the soldiers involved in the operation, later remarked, "If we had a military division with the bullet-carrying capacity of these birds, it would face any army in the world." That was our experience during the Great Emu War. My first mission behind enemy lines showed why those who fight for king and country need to watch their backs. Turns out, sometimes the greatest threat comes from the most unexpected sources. You never truly know who your enemies are until you see the whites of their eyes staring back at you. And let me tell you, those eyes can be deceiving. They can turn on you faster than you can pull the trigger. This is your host,